wonderful bookish family. Welcome back to Coffee Over Apples. My name's Steph, and I'm here with a new feisty buddy. Ow! This is my new buddy. This is Daenerys. She is a Great Dane puppy, and she's got so much energy. She just wants to play all the time. So I'm gonna have her with me for this video until she's ready to take a nap. I'm happy to introduce to you the newest member of our family, along with the second half of my summer book haul, which is probably one of my biggest book hauls to date. I have over 40 books to talk about. Some of them are digital books. I'm going to introduce to you very briefly the 30 plus books that I'm reading for the I can never say it, self-published sci-fi book competition. I've got quite a few physical books next to me, and please don't eat books. I got this picture book. It's a solar system picture book, and it pops up so you can see planets and things. Oh my gosh, yes, I know, I'm a 5-year-old sci-fi junkie. I couldn't pass this up. It was free at my library. They were giving it away. Look how cool this is. Did I say this was mostly going to be a science fiction book haul? Mostly science fiction, fantasy, and art books. I also got a memory called Empire. This is the pick for August for my science fiction interstellar book club, and I'm super excited to get a review out for this, hopefully in the near future. As you can see, I already started reading it, and I'm really liking it so far. I've heard nothing but positive things about this. I'm really glad that I got this as a physical copy to annotate because it's highly political, and there's a lot of really interesting names that are hard to keep track of. So I would definitely suggest anyone who wants to read this probably pick it up as a physical book, unless you're really good at listening to fantasy and things that are more abstract on audio, then that's also an option as well. Now, I already mentioned these two in my monthly TBR game that I was gonna read them in August, but I do have physical copies of them now. This is Alloy of Law and Shadows of Self, books 1 and 2 in the Mistborn Era 2. She's so goofy. Books, what are you doing? Books 1 and 2 of Mistborn Era 2 for the Cosmere Cravalong. I'm glad that I decided to finally get physical copies of some Mistborn books because I really loved Mistborn Era 1. Here's your bone. I really loved Mistborn Era 1, and I'm so excited to get some physical copies so that I can write down my feelings about them as I'm reading them. They were so action-packed and literally so much fun. No! Books are friends, not food! Give me this! Give me this! No! No, pup! No! Here, I'll give you a toy instead, okay? You like your squishy? No. Okay. This sci-fi young adult story was sent to me by the author Kimberly Grimes. I don't think I mentioned this in another book haul video, but if I did, that's okay, because actually on top of me reading this in exchange for a copy for an honest review, this is also in the self-pub sci-fi competition. Even though it's not been assigned to my team, I think it's really cool that it's part of the competition, and I could potentially read this at the same time as a competition to help boost the author. I believe it's new adult, it's dealing with college students, there's some magic happening, I believe it's a space opera. Quality Land was sent to me by my buddy Scott over at Book Invasion. He's actually the host or the team leader for my team, Book Invasion, in the SPSFC sci-fi book competition. And I won this from Scott as part of a giveaway that he was doing. So thank you so much, Scott, for sending this to me. I can't wait to get to it. It's supposed to be really funny, and I know that it takes place in a world where it's like Amazon-like company is running everything, and things are always sent to you because it's what you really want or really need at the time. So refunds never happen because usually these things are not necessary because the shipments are perfect and the company knows exactly what you need. But what happens when a mistake is actually made and something needs to be refunded, but a refunding process doesn't exist? So it looks like it's a really good time. I love the jacket for this book. It looks so funny, and I know that Scott highly recommends this book. If not by the end of this year, then hopefully in the beginning of 2022, because my TBR for the end of this year is ridiculously huge. Speaking of ridiculously huge, Caliban's War, which is the second book in the Expanse series. I read the first book, which is Leviathan Wakes, as part of my sci-fi book club, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a pretty good time. I would say that there were some things that I was not a fan of, but it didn't detract from the overall like political sci-fi space intrigue that I was really enjoying. So I'm really looking forward to this book. I have heard from people that that the author's writing of women characters does get better. After putting some thought into it, I do agree that that was a problem in the first book. However, it was from the main perspective of 2 male characters. Oh my gosh, she loves chewing on everything. She's teething right now. I got a historical fiction. Who am I? I don't really read historical fiction, but this was free and it looks interesting. It is Shakespeare's Wife, and apparently it is an in-depth story about, I don't know if this is historical fiction. I don't know if this is research or essay. I'm really interested in learning about women behind famous men in history. I love reading biographies of important women throughout history, and I think the wife of Shakespeare is, maybe just because I'm ignorant about the history behind Shakespeare and I'm not a huge Shakespearean fan, although I do admit that I love a good play every now and again. And I feel like the partners of really creative people are equally as important to the biography of their stories, because they played a huge role in their stability and just what was happening in their lives in order for those individuals who we uplift to be able to create. So I got this from my school library, White Fragility. I'm very much interested in reading this because I've been finding some really good nonfiction lately. I've been on a bit of a nonfiction kick. I'm pretty sure I saw this, I'm pretty sure it was making its rounds around booktube for a while. Actually, if anything, I might end up switching over to this on audio, because I find that non-fiction books work best for me on audio, so I can listen to it on my drive to work. Okay, next I've got like a stack of these books. They're all from the same publication, and it's all these books around different kinds of artistic theory. I believe that these are secondary sources, so they're just giving me a roadmap to finding artists and influential individuals in these different topics within the art sphere so that I can study them further. So I have Work, which I believe is a book about art and performance art, Systems, Art Education, Creating Situations in Art, Art Abstraction, Art Ethics, and Art and Science Fiction, which is probably the one that I'm most excited for. Okay, so now for the digital books that I got as part of the sci-fi competition. I've been really purposefully avoiding digging deep into what the synopses of these books are, other than what we had to do in order to like siphon through what books were eligible and not eligible. And now my cats are here. What is happening? Everyone wants to be in the video as soon as I turn the camera on. Editing Steph here to let you guys know that this is one of the longest book hauls that I've ever done. So in order to make sure that I was able to get all of the books in this video not be like ridiculously mind-bogglingly long, I tried to keep the book descriptions of all the books for the SPSFC, there I said it, less than 30 seconds or close to 30 seconds. So some books I was able to give you some more information, some books I was able to give you less information, and some books I really didn't get to film all of the information because my camera was going to die or the information wasn't readily available on Goodreads. So just know that if there's any book here that the cover looks really interesting and you want to know more, I will be vlogging my experience reading all of these books, at least reading the first 10% of each books as we start to siphon through which ones are going to make it to the next round of the competition. So just letting you know that. Back to the book haul. I'm gonna try to like speed read through these synopses. I'm not gonna read the entire things, and I'll put a picture of the books up on the screen. So the first one is going to be Nye by Alan Miller. It says, we're not getting any older. An extraordinary event at the genetic level changes everything. The world didn't see it coming. It takes time for people to adjust to waking up to smoother skin and better health. A global spring cleaning begins, a purge to free the planet of parasites. Countries and societies radically change, and through the experiences of a reporter, a doctor, two couples, and an ancient Iowan farmer, shepherding humankind to its ultimate destiny, a very human apocalypse. Okay, that sounds really good. You guys know that I love a good apocalypse story, so I might pick that up sooner rather than later. Then we have Life on Planet Earth by Andy Gorman. So 700 years ago, there was a plague on Earth, turned Earth into a wasteland. The descendants of survivors living out an existence on a lunar city called Omega, where the privileged live deep underground and the poor suffer radiation poisoning. We have a 17-year-old protagonist, there's simulators, and there's a chance to be on a return mission to Earth. Instead of him being chosen, which he really wants to go, his sister gets chosen. Oh, simulated monsters, but there might be real monsters. Mutations on Earth, monsters. Yeah, that sounds really good. So many apocalyptic books. I'm loving it. Then we have the first book in a series by Craig Priestley called The United World. Ooh, this one says that it's about a government coming together to create utopia. It takes place in January of 2020 in a time when the world is coming together to form a worldwide government. We're following a couple and they have just had a baby, but the husband discovers that the doctors are trying to do something to babies. So apparently the government is taking a lot of things into their hands that not everyone agrees with. So how does this family try to cope in a world where they don't agree with the new impending policies? Alright, so this next one, called Broken Ascension by Dave Walsh, actually looks like it's taking place... What are you doing? You can't eat my books. Right after a war between humans and aliens, and it says there were no winners. Now humans and aliens must find a way to coexist. This is the galaxy that Drake Rose and the crew of the freighter Tristero are stuck in. Together, they traverse the demilitarized zone between Terran and Graal borders, taking on any job they can find, big or small. A chance encounter with a derelict alien ship thrusts them into the center of a deadly conspiracy. Sounds like an interesting action story. I wouldn't say that from that description that it's like super high on my list, but I will say that I am looking forward to it because I do love a war alien political drama. Then we have Synthesis Weave by Rex Dean. The laws of physics are about to change. A tsunami in a space station, an explosion with no trace of the bomber. Cybersecurity expert Sebastian knows evidence doesn't magically appear. Yet when he and his colleague Eric's, a disabled ex-marine, travel the galaxy to find the cause, there seems to be no other explanation. Detectives in space! I am so down. Then we have The Peacemaker's Code by Deepak Malhotra. And it says, winner of a National Indie Excellence Award for Best Science Fiction 2021. Awesome, congratulations to the author. It's following a professor, a renowned historian of war and diplomacy, is collected from his home and whisked off to Washington, thrust into the highest level of government as an advisor to the president. The young historian must come to terms with the seemingly impossible, figure out how to navigate a world where not everything is as it appears, and use all of the skills and knowledge he's acquired in his life to help save humanity from conflict. Interesting. I wonder where this goes. It doesn't really say much more than that other than saying that it talks about a lot of big themes. This next one is actually a little bit higher on my priority list just because it looks really interesting. I remember this sticking out to me when I was going through the list. Not saying that I'm not looking forward to all of the books that I'm going to read, just that, I mean, I feel like Humor in sci-fi is a little bit rare in my opinion, so anytime that I see some humor, I'm probably gonna go for it. This one is called Percival Gideon and the Conspiracy of Days. The year is 20,018, so we're about 18,000 years in the future. The famed magician Illuminari is dead and his great illusion has died with him. Dark forces now seek the engine of Armageddon, the ancient sentient doomsday weapon that Illuminari hid amongst the stars. Enter Percival Gideon, accountant and part-time hero whose quest to find the engine before it falls into the wrong hands may be our universe's last best hope for survival. It is a quest that will take him from the highest reaches of power to the lowest pits of despair and throughout every manner of horror and absurdity in between. Okay, like the rest of the description basically says that there's dark secrets, space fairies, math, swashbuckling, obstruction, product placement, Nazis beating up those Nazis, unlimited baked beans, zombie cyborg assistants, fate with a capital F, love, betrayal, wizards, jokes, paradoxes, a sentient doomsday weapon, 11-dimensional space, clones, monsters, space nuns, and at least one rat chef. This is probably going to be the next book that I pick up. Okay, only one rat chef, but yeah, this is fantastic. I literally cannot wait to read this. We have Soldierina by Better Hero Army. That is a pretty cool name. Everything's gone wrong. There's a battleship. Tamora has crashed into Earth on its arrival, leaving Inna stranded on a planet occupied and controlled by mechanized invaders. Okay, calm down, Terminator. She shouldn't be able to feel with empathic senses, but she does. Worse, rather than searching for the man she loves, she's stuck with a vengeful platoon sergeant she hates more than anything in the universe. Drop Knots by J. Scott Coatsworth. Over a century after the end of Earth, life goes on in Redemption, the sole remaining lunar colony and possibly the last outpost of humankind in the solar system. But with an existential threat burying its way to the moon's core, humanity must recolonize the homeworld. If you hear chaos in the background, my pets have all lost their mind. We have Emergence by Jackie Rawlinson. To survive, she must emerge. To win, she must ascend. This looks like it's gonna be very action-y. Just try and stop her. Born from an ancient race of gifted aliens, the whole universe is depending on Emily to rise up from the challenge and become the chosen one. I'm really not a huge fan of the chosen one trope. I actually prefer it when there's an expectation that there is going to be a chosen one trope and then it's kind of like flipped on its head. So I hope that that's where this goes. Then we have The Wakeful Wanderer's Guide to New England and Beyond by Jim Infantino. I already started reading this one. Was my camera tilted this whole time? Is that straighter? It says, in the parlor of a Luster Sunshine Inn up the Hudson from flooded remains of Lower Manhattan, a man named Mardo plans a unicycle ride through scenic New England. Mardo is a post-apocalyptic travel writer with a head full of implants. Yeah, so far it kind of seems like everything's written in messages, and I feel like it should be multimedia, but it's kind of hard for me to ascertain whether this book was written in like a multimedia format because I'm reading on my Kindle. So it's speaking towards our relationship with technology in the future. Do I want implants in my head? No. If someone gave me telepathy as a superpower, would I take it? Only if I had the option to turn it off. Is that where this book is going? I don't know. This is probably the longest book haul that I've ever done. Buckle up, grab some snacks, and drink, because we're gonna be here for a while. By Julia Hooney, sorry author if I'm mispronouncing your name. I have The Vacuum of Space. When her maintenance bot found a body, Triana lost her lunch, then she lost the body. How did she lose her memory? When a highly connected security agent interrupts her routine with stories of murder and missing bodies, Triana didn't ignore him. It's cooperate or find a new job. A girl has to pay rent, even on a crappy studio compartment. In space, no one can hear you clean. What? We have, by Kevin Wright, The Clarity of Cold Steel, which from this cover seems like it's going to be very steampunky. Mortis Lock, the Machine City, last bastion of mankind in all its fallen glory, where the sum total of life is cheaper than in part. A poor kid wrung from the city's dregs has been abducted. His family's lost all hope. Enter Detective Shaktil, gumshoe legend in his own mind, and maybe, just maybe, a few others. He's the bloodhound loosed on the kid's trail, and it's clear from the get-go that someone wants this hound put down, and they ain't shy about it. Killers keep coming, and the clock keeps ticking. I would say that the last detective book that I probably read was an Agatha Christie book. Detective Poirot. Code of Conduct by Christine Smith. Captain Janny Killian's life should have ended in front of a firing squad. Instead, she evaded battlefield justice by dying in a transport crash. End of story, according to official Commonwealth Service records. But doctors repaired her in secret. Oh my gosh, we have a RoboCop. When her former lover tracks her down and begs her help in finding his wife's killer, she has no choice but to agree. Do you though? Do you though? Sounds like you got a lot on your hands, girlfriend. The Stars Within by Lena Allison Knight. For Karel Evandra, her psionic powers have always meant three things: mandatory service to a multi-galactic corporation, a luxurious lifestyle as a prized asset, and an electronic collar that will kill her if she steps out of line, just like Jinru Game. A fantastic death game manga if you're looking for one. As much as Karel might resent her gilded cage, the obedience to her corporate master's cold directives, everyone knows that escape is impossible, and defiance risks not just her own life, but also the life of the person closest to her. But when her contract is suddenly sold, she learns that obedience was not the guarantee of safety she once thought. Road to Juneau by Liam Quain. New York, 2 years after the Third World War. Humanity is rebuilding its cities brick by brick. The damage done to the people, however, is a lot harder to repair. Dan Hardiker is one of those people, an aspiring stage actor and experienced draft dodger. Dan struggles to find his place within the utopic rebuild of New York City. When he's not caught up with the duties of work, Dan lives a quiet life in mourning for his mother. It ends with him facing death itself in the form of a metallic, faceless, humanoid creature that calls itself the Valkyrie. To investigate the reason behind his haunting experience, Dan seeks out a meeting with his estranged father, who reveals the startling truth about Dan's dreams. It wasn't a dream. Dun dun dun! Alien Advantage by Lorraine O'Neill. Eager excitement launched Mark Hemmings from his apartment one balmy Florida night to a foolish gawk up at the thing in the sky. Zap! Mark was kidnapped by space aliens, accidentally stealing their spaceship. A humorous novel of chase and determination, and above all else, refusing to forget who you are, despite the craftiest of temptations. Okay. This video is taking me forever. Streamwriter by Mark Huntley James. Lois Rolander, rich girl and documentary addict, arrives on the run to save a piece of alien tech. Ooh, that sounds fun. She finds refuge under an alias named the Maintenance Grunts. Jojo, the thief, drops in to put a price on Lois's head and recover the alien tech he was stealing. Instead, he's dragged into a war he learns his grandfather secretly started. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. A bit different from the other ones that we've mentioned so far. This is the Orthogonal Galaxy by Michael L. Lewis. When a college professor's dream of discovering a parallel Earth is in jeopardy, an astronomical phenomenon sends a trio of research students scrambling to unravel a mystery that will lead them to the discovery of a lifetime. With a compelling set of data that yields more questions than answers, NASA turns to a pair of unlikely astronauts who undertake a mission of staggeringly poor odds to learn more about the galaxy in which they live. Oh, okay, so in Convergence by Michael Patrick Hicks, we have a memory thief. Memories are our most dangerous drug, it says. After being hired to kill a ranking officer of the Pacific Rim Coalition, Pacific Rim? I love giant robots, but that's probably not what they're referring to, and download his memories, Everett finds himself caught in the crosshairs of a terror cell, a rogue military squadron, and a Chinese gangster named Alex Z. Z is a profiteer of street drugs, primarily DRMR, a powerful narcotic made from the memories of the dead. That sounds really good. Sifting through memories. How inception of you. 9 more books to go. The Aspirant by Nick Adams. This cover is really cool. Is there no description on Goodreads? Okay, so I'm too lazy to go look for a description of the Aspirant because this dog is heavy, my leg's fallen asleep, and I've been recording for over an hour. So I will just mention it again when I do a vlog later on, because I plan on vlogging my reading of all the books for this competition. And my hip! Oh my god, this dog is heavy! We have Buoyant by P.L. Tavormina. On planet Turoset, droughts ravage farmlands, cyclones rip through coastal cities, and with every barrel of oil the combustion industry pumps from the ground, the climate worsens. Alphonse has just refused a council seat because taking it means serving that rapacious industry. He leaves the city to seek solace in the wilderness, and there a power to live the past awakens him. Alphonse walks the steps of his distant ancestor on long-dead Earth, soon growing plagued with memories of its collapse, and he's left with a troubling certainty. He must infiltrate the combustion industry to secure proof of its treachery, or Turoset will be next to fall. You know, I'd be interested in reading more books that are like, I know most sci-fi books are set in the future, but science fiction set in the past? Historical science fiction? Is that a thing? We have The Cult Shadow by Peter Lamb. Although he has always dreamed of traveling to the stars, Ricardo Oliveira is stranded on Traken, a planet in the far reaches of the galaxy where inequality is the law of life. Hard as the sands in which he grew up, injustice will put Ricardo on a collision course with the planet's elite government. The Cult Shadow tells the stories of idealist soldiers, rules, and troubadours, and of an evil slipping among cosmic winds. Scientific immigration, space traveling story? Maybe? Boulder by Raymond Bolton. Eric Folder has moved to Oregon to attend Portland State University when an automobile accident leaves him stricken with migraine headaches. The resulting visual effects, something medical professionals term an aura, render him virtually blind and defenseless when a gang of street thugs attacks him. Desperate to see and needing to protect himself, Eric reflectively tears at the luminous lines of light and finds they've become tangible. My boy can rip wormholes with his hands. Dope. Man, if I could rip wormholes with my hands, I'd probably be on a beach somewhere with a pina colada. Okay, that's exactly where I'd be. We have 6 books left. The Empress Capsule by R.K. Thorne. Prodigy, deserter, commander at 22, Commander Ellen Ryu is a little young to be retired, yet she's planned and bled in more battles than veterans twice her age. And well, she didn't exactly retire so much as desert. Betrayed by her superiors, turned into a science experiment, and nearly driven insane, Ellen seizes a chance for freedom when a shadowy organization offered her a ship of her own and an elite all-female crew. Yes! Cyborgs, space opera, and an all-female space crew. The Scent of Metal by Sabrina Chase. Okay, this title, when I first heard this title, I was like, The Scent of Metal, that is so specific. That's actually a really good title. Like, it's bringing the tanginess, the iron that you taste when you get blood in your mouth. Maybe that's not a great metaphor, but when it rains and you're around metal and you smell rust, and it's just, I don't know what I was thinking, but I just really like the title. The expedition ship Kepler races to Pluto, intent on uncovering the secrets of alien structure recently discovered under the ice. Computer scientist Leah Santorin can't wait to figure out the alien technology. Instead, she wakes it up and it continues its long, interrupted journey across the galaxy, taking Lyra and Kepler with it. Me gusta. The Fourth Sage by Stephen Bowles. 15-year-old Aries Egan lives in one of 5 super high-rises in a nameless city. There is no government, there are no schools. People are controlled by a ruthless corporation. Any deviant from the moral code, the code of living set forth by the corporation, is punished. Sometimes with prison, sometimes with torture, sometimes with death. Aries hacks into the mainframe computer, creating a loop with the camera feed to her room and so stealing 1 hour per night for herself. Yes! Go ahead, 1984, get that independence. So really briefly, before my battery dies, because I won't be able to charge it and record the rest of this video in time to tell you about the last 3 books that I'm going to read for the competition, which are The Merry Maids by Stephanie Contreras, Effacement, and Novum Chronicles by William Joseph Rea. And they all look really good, and I will leave a really brief cover, but I will be vlogging all of my experiences with the SPSFC. Wow, I finally said it right. I'm super excited to do this. It's a year-long science fiction read. I hope that you enjoyed this book haul. I have 1,000,001 books to read. Am I gonna get through all of these this year? Probably not, but that's okay, because 2022 is 4 months away, and I'm still not done processing 2020. Are you ready to say bye to the camera? Are you ready? Are you ready? You're so sleepy. You're so sleepy. We say bye. Bye, friends. Bye. Okay. Thumbnail. Oh my goodness. We're trying to take a thumbnail. No, stop kissing me. Stop kissing me.
What's it making, Mr. Wonka? Mr. Wonka, work the